Let's have a look at this Aston Martin. So someone was asking a question how to use some of the curves that were in this file from Vladimir. Vladimir has so kindly provided the world with his tutorials on the 177, and I'm just going to try to answer one question that I had from someone who was trying to build that model. So to answer that question, Vladimir has provided some curves here, and I'm just hiding away the surfaces that were already in the model, and I'll show you what those curves are for. So in one of his first tutorials, Vladimir has searched for the theory points to get a nice theory curve on this mesh. Let's color in the mesh with the shader so we see the differences. And then in the curves layer, let's change the color to something more bright, more obvious. So, as you see, these little crosses that Vladimir has generated are going across the mesh, bridging it to a certain theory point, and then he generated this nice curve here, going from one side all the way to the other one, that he uses to build the surfaces here. Now, let's turn off the mesh layer. Let's take the curves and the other one. And now we see these curves there. So, if one would like to build some surfaces in there, pretty primitive, but getting to the point of building the Aston Martin, one of the easy ways to do that is going into your palette. I like to dock it here with holding it down with Shift till the edge of the screen turns blue. Let's see it here. One more try. So there we go, finally. So in your surfaces, search for the skin tool. There we go, double click it, and then let's generate one here to here. Allow this little whoopsie moment. You see one of the curves is shorter, the other one is longer. When you click on default, it will get you some nice clean edges there. And then you can pull all the way back here with these controllers, generate smaller surfaces. And let's see where we've got blend curve. Turn the CVs on it. Now we see the clean construction that Vladimir has used. So, since he provided also these clean curves, let's go and use those. So we delete this skin, generate one here. You can use explicit control to control the number of CVs. And then generate the second one here. There we go. So now we see that the skin tool is not set up to generate a clean CV layout. So what I normally do in this step is go and duplicate the edge curves. Generate one of these curves here as well. And one here. Delete these surfaces, because what we want is that the CV rows are lining up cleanly and that they have a certain gradient, let's say in the angles, starting from one side to the other. So let's delete these surfaces. Cool. Now we have these curves. Take it by rail, so a rail surface, where we have 2 generation curves and 2 rail curves. Normally use the short curves for the generation and then the long ones for your rails. Turn on explicit control. Let's use, for the generation curves, let's see, 2 CVs, and for the rails, let's take it up to 5. And we see we have the same layout that's not really working that well. So when you click on this, the rebuild for rail number 1, it will get you to a clean layout. That will mean there's going to be a slight deviation there, but that's not a problem. And let's do the same step with the other curve. So we can make this rail surface at the generation, that curve there. Now we've got the other surface in. And now that we've used surface edge here as a generation, we can also switch on the curvature tool. Well, the curvature alignment on that side. And rail 1 is also set up on rebuild. Now you see this lower curve is not that well suited. So one way to check it out is, let's see the CVs on the curve. And it's a long compound curve, meaning that it has a couple of spans. So what we can do is use the curve, but increase a little bit the CV number on that side. So the rail goes up to 7, let's say. Now that cleans it up slightly, but for the purposes of building some first rough surfaces, this will do. And let's bring in the mesh. You see, we are getting pretty close there. Not that bad. Could be worse. So, for you, Andrea, this is the one way you can take the curves from Vladimir, generate some first surfaces there and get very close to this mesh. And following this kind of an example, keep on building these other surfaces. Have fun. Ciao.